Hanna.
And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas,
where we talk about scary movies.
And in the wise words of Bodies, today's episode is a podcast about hanging out with your smartest and funniest friends. So today we are joined by Sarah from Paranormal in Pennsylvania.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. We have had Sarah on for a number of episodes, so we are very glad to have you back.
But before we get started, Sarah, tell us where to find you, tell us about yourself, for those who haven't heard you yet.
Sure. So I am one of the 3 hosts of Paranormal in Pennsylvania. Every week we discuss history and hauntings. And so like spooky locations, the history behind it, etc. We've done tons of collabs with Matt and Hanna before. Find us wherever you get podcasts. Follow us on socials, TikTok, Instagram, YouTubes, etc.
And you are the perfect guest for the episode this week because we are talking about The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So you're the perfect guest, obviously, because you have spooky content podcast. And we will be going on Paranormal in Pennsylvania. That episode will actually come out before this one. And we will be talking about the case in a little bit more depth there. So if you want more info besides what we get into in this episode, you can find us there.
The real case that the movie alleges it was based on.
Yeah.
As it says, based on the true story.
And this movie does some other things.
This movie,
not true story.
About 5 minutes of this movie were based on the true story.
But we, as a little bit of icebreaker, we had asked everyone on the socials what their favorite possession films were. And I know that you would answer this one, Sarah. So do you want to share your answer or answers?
Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called now. I think The Last Exorcism is what it's called. That's my favorite possession. And also the movie The Rite. I don't think I commented that, but that's a really good movie about a priest who becomes possessed. The Last Exorcism is only rated PG-13, but I saw it when I was pretty young, and it has a lot of like contortionism and body horror in it, and that always gets me.
Yeah, I saw the cover, and I have not seen that. And I know why I haven't seen it. It's because there's contortionism on the cover. And that is just such a no from me. Can't be me. I would say mine are probably... I think When Evil Lurks is a fun take on possession. I think Hereditary's possession is really fun and unique too. And then for like a classic one, I do think the first Conjuring does a heck of a job. What about you?
Oh, to name one that hasn't been named, what if I said Evil Dead 2013?
Okay.
The remake. That is a fantastic possession movie and a fantastic horror movie. Another one that I said before, which is not exactly a horror movie, but the movie Possessor, directed by Brandon Cronenberg, is a fantastic take on the possession genre. And Sarah, if you haven't heard of it, the sell on it is it's about assassins that are put into other people's bodies to do hits that are then like murder-suicides. So they like possess other people, then do a murder-suicide, and then they're like paid. It's like a corporation.
But
so it's cool as hell.
A very fun take on everything, and it has some really cool body horror too.
Yep.
Also, they hang dongs, so
there is naked men. No, it's only in the Canadian version. The U.S. version, they cut that because we're a bunch of Puritan losers over here. Watch the Canadian
version.
Yeah, watch the original Canadian version of Possessor if you want to see dong.
We're very pro hanging dongs.
Yes, very pro.
Or the Hanna's podcast.
It's important.
Well, we did ask our followers, so I did want to share some of their answers. So K_Scanlin653 said, I can't necessarily say this is my favorite possession film, but one I do want to show some love for is Deliver Us from Evil. This one just doesn't feel like your prototypical possession film. I also really enjoy The Exorcism of Emily Rose, even though it plays out more like a legal drama than your standard possession film. I tend to gravitate to more outside the box examples, I guess. Also, my horror hot take is that The Exorcist, while still a good movie, is wildly overrated.
That is a hot take.
Everything they said there was good until they showed very big lack of ball knowledge, calling The Exorcist overrated. Because I think when I go and watch it, I've had that thought before. And then I go and watch it and I go, nope, wrong. This movie is rated exactly as it should be. So,
and think of how important it was at the point in film when it came out. Like, okay, people might watch it now and think, oh, The Exorcist isn't as scary, but My mom saw it when she was 16, and she slept with her parents after she saw it. She was so scared.
It's a big deal. And it's just a well-made movie. Like, in comparison to a lot of horror movies we get that aren't well-made, like that one is renowned for a reason. So
sorry, Kay Scanlon, you just got shaded.
Yeah, no, everything else you said I liked, though. So.
I wanted to read the whole comment because I think it offered a lot of different fun bits and pieces there, but especially the mention for the exorcism of Emily Rose, because I do think that will come up in today's conversation a bit as a movie that this film could have taken more example from.
And it looks like someone commented too. I don't know if you want me to be saying that. If you want me to read TikTok comments.
If they're relevant.
Someone commented Hereditary.
Great possession film.
Yes.
Good pick.
And then Movie Postmortem Podcast had also said The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and they mentioned Jennifer Carpenter is amazing, and she has the type of talent that makes you forget that she's acting. And I will say her possession sequences are very good.
It's just unfortunately kind of a forgettable movie.
I agree. Someone else on TikTok, Jasmine James 409, said The Possession with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. March 4th Tech said Jennifer's Body. And potentially my favorite answer.
This is my favorite answer, too.
Steinmetz.Ethan.
Who's our friend Ethan.
We know him in real life. Said the live action Scooby-Doo. And incredible.
There is possession in there. I forgot.
Incredible shout. I'm obsessed with this.
I screamed when I saw that. I was like, this is the funniest answer that I would have never thought of, because those monsters do possess teenage bodies, whatever they are. And they go out into the world. We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
All those souls were in the vat. I guess eventually they got back and the monsters came out, but they were just living in those bodies. Great movie.
Yeah.
Kind of horrifying when you think about it, too.
Incredible shout. Yeah. That movie was clearly originally made for adults. Yeah. You can just see it in every aspect of the filmmaker. It's been known. Yeah. Yeah. So now that we've gone through our icebreaker, we'll actually touch on the film that we're covering today, which again is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is obviously the third film in the franchise.
Without a number, though.
Yeah.
It's I'll go on my rant really quick.
Yep,
we had The Conjuring. Cool. We had The Conjuring 2, really dumb name. Probably should have been The Conjuring, the Enfield Poltergeist, something like that, or, from the Conjuring universe. We had a bunch of offshoot movies that didn't have names that were all terrible.
Well, the Annabelle ones, too.
Annabelle's bad. But then we get The Conjuring 3, but no 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is what I said they should have done the first time. Like, what's with this numbering scheme? We're going to go 2, but then change it after? Like, come on, pick one and stick with it. That's me.
I'm not heated in the way that you are, but I do think this one has a smart name in The Devil Made Me Do It, because that is what the case is known as.
It's a great name. We should have just had good names for all of them.
It's irrelevant to if it's a good name or not. I'm saying that is the name of the case. When people talk about the case, it is The Devil Made Me Do It case. So it's smart because you look at the name of the movie and you know exactly what they're going to be talking about. So I feel like for that reason, it makes it come up in searches and all that jazz. I just think that's smarter marketing.
So The Conjuring 2 should have been the Enfield Poltergeist. Yes. It was dumb.
Yes, I do.
That's my whole point.
Yes.
That's just my rant. I've said that for years because I thought it was dumb when they did the second one. And then I was right. They listened to me for the third.
Wrap it up. So this film came out in 2021. It was written by David Leslie Johnson, McGoldrick, James Wan, and Chad Hayes. And it's directed by Michael Chaves. And that is who is also going to be directing Last Rites.
Chavez? I don't know.
No, it's not that, because that would be a Z at the end.
Okay, if you say so.
Okay, sorry, Michael. Matt and I are having creative differences on your name. That's a creative difference. Okay, and then the movie is starring Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, as are the first two. This movie is very interesting because, as we discussed, it is kind of based off a true story.
Similar to the other Conjuring films.
Yeah, but less based off a true story. This one's very kinda, and the other ones are decently so, or at least based off one version of the truth. But the part that is based off a true story, again, the Devil Made Me Do It case, was the first known court case in the United States in which the defense sought to prove innocence based off demonic possession. So, they weren't personally responsible because they were possessed, which is hilarious. And newsflash, it did not work.
It was actually, the movie doesn't do a good job, but it was thrown out immediately. immediately the judge was like, "No, you can't do that."
That's wild.
But Patrick Wilson has bars in this movie. There's not. I didn't love this movie. I'll just say it right away. But there is a line where he says, "The courtroom acknowledges the existence of God every day. It's about time they started acknowledging the existence of the devil."
That was bars.
And I was like, he's got a point. Like, if we're gonna get litigious, which it is a courtroom, so it's gonna get litigious. Like, I can't argue with that logic.
It was a pretty funny quote.
Yeah, it really got me.
But Sarah, you're the paranormal lady on this podcast. Do you want to share a little bit more about what you know of, like, the real case?
So I don't know much about this case, actually. And that's why I think I was so shocked that there were so many fictional things in this film, because I watched it and thought, I kind of watched it and then researched after. And I was like, this is crazy with, like, the causes behind the possession and stuff. I know you guys try not to do spoilers at the beginning, so I'm trying not to spoil
this movie's old. We'll spoil.
It's old, so go ahead.
Yeah,
okay.
That's only new movies.
So with the occultist, I thought that was real. And so I was like, this is really wild that it happened. And then I was researching it and it was like, this is fabricated for the thing. So it's like, yes, there is the concept of, like, totems leading to possessions. That's a thing that happens. We know that there's a lot of objects that are linked to possessions and spirits and stuff. Yes. But it's just wild to me how, like, blown out of context it seems here. Like, they just like find a totem in their house and then they're possessed. I don't know. So from a paranormal perspective, I felt like it still didn't make sense. Like, legally and paranormally, it's just a wash.
Yeah, this movie is dog shit. Okay, but I'll elaborate on why.
I think it's really funny that you thought all of that was real, because I was watching and I was like, why? Yeah, I didn't know anything about the case, but I just knew from a storytelling standpoint, I was like, wow, they're just, like, adding all this stuff to make the Warrens more involved because they didn't have enough to do with this case. So maybe they shouldn't have made a movie on a case that didn't involve them. Like, at all?
On that point, James Wan had talked about why they did that. He said that they wanted to get out of the haunted house setup of the first two. They wanted to do something different, so that's why they picked this case.
Then don't make a movie about your most famous haunted house investigators. Like,
right.
Sure. Well, what's also bananas is that writer David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick that I had mentioned interviewed Arne, the possessed person who committed the murder, and his wife Debbie for the movie. He got their accounts. And so the first version of the script was allegedly based off of his interviews. But then it got modified to add all this extra bullshit in and take liberties with what really happened. So the fuck?
See, yeah, this is just a minuscule part of why people hate the Warrens, right? It's like, there's all of their BS that has to do with them being controversial, but it's also the universe, the cinematic universe. It's, like, so distant from the real stories and so much embellishing. I feel like it just speaks to how they were known to embellish all of their cases.
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel that way about the first two? Because, like, from my understanding, the first Conjuring and the second, other than a couple...
No, the first one.
At least the first one seems to be pretty close to at least what was alleged to have happened, which is, I think, a big part of what makes it really good. You also have, I think, really good storytelling going along with it. The
second one is, like,
the second one
widely known to have been
more
bullshit.
Well, it has some lot of weirder stuff. Like the first one I watched and I was like, okay, this feels plausible even from, like, a haunting aspect and, like, what was alleged. The second one does some stuff that goes really out there, but at least the base story is coming from something. And, like, that whole case was very controversial in the first place. It was kind of fun to play on that. But then this one, it's like, oh, we just have a whole other story a fiction story we want to tell that we just want to, like, use a frame of this actual case and about 10 minutes of the actual case to tell our other random story. But Sarah, sorry, I went on a long rant. Do you know much about the first case? Or the first Conjuring?
So that I've heard is very, on par. But I mean, take a look at, like, the Annabelles.
Oh, but we don't count those.
You don't count, but that's part of the Warren universe.
No, well, sort of. So
no, it is. It's part of the Conjuring universe. Like Last Rites is the last movie of all of them.
So the whole Annabelle story is told within the first Conjuring movie. And then studios went and said, well, let's make another story about this character, just the doll. And then they wrote a fictional story. So like, and the Warrens' characters aren't in that movie at all. It's all, and like, so that movie bothers the hell out of me because there was no reason to make it.
Sarah was on that episode.
Oh, that's right.
So
that was on your episode.
How much it bothered you.
Yes. So like in my mind, I don't typically count those because they're more studio driven versus like James Wan's vision, who I kind of see as the captain of this ship. But
that's a fair take on that though.
And I know these movies just make the Warrens look good, and I don't know enough about the Warrens to care. I know they're not good people.
They were shitty people.
But I love the characters of the Warrens in these movies.
Which we'll
get into.
Into further, for sure, because when we talk about the purpose of this movie, that will come up heavily. I did want to share a little bit about the Devil Made Me Do It case, and I'm going to be straight up with the folks at home. This is from Wikipedia. So don't accuse me of plagiarism. I'm acknowledging it. Okay, so allegedly, 11-year-old David Glatzel was host to a demon. The family had witnessed multiple occurrences, and so they called in Ed and Lorraine Warren. And between the Warrens, who then called in Catholic priests, multiple priests, there were multiple exorcisms performed on David over a period of several days. And then Arne Johnson, who was David's sister's boyfriend of the time, essentially invited the demon to come into him to protect David. And allegedly, according to those present, the demon fled into his body then. And then he killed his landlord during a party, and they attempted to use the excuse of possession. And, quote from Wikipedia, the judge ruled that such a defense could never be proven and was therefore infeasible in a court of law. And he was subsequently convicted, and he was convicted for a 10 to 20 year sentence. But fun fact, he only served 5. While he was in jail, he actually married Debbie, David's sister, and they are still happily married to this day. Or at least married, I don't know about happily.
And they both still corroborate that they believe he was possessed?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, is really, really interesting. Because, like, you're out now. You could
just say whatever the fuck. Yeah. But he got out early due to good behavior.
That's, like, what throws me off about all this. And I'm not sure how I feel about possession and if I believe it's real. But, like, this story, at least the way it's told, the real life story is really compelling in some ways to me. So
It is very interesting. I listened to another podcast, like, go through everything. And there's certainly things where I'm like, I could buy that. And then there are things where I'm like, that's horseshit. So, yeah. And I feel like that way about most of the Warrens cases, as do, I think, many people in
That's
the
what's
community.
so fun about their cases.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. Well, let's get more into the nitty-gritty about our actual feelings on the movie. We've clearly set up that none of us liked it, and one of us, maybe me, called the movie dog shit. So let's get into why.
Oh.
Well, let's first do our summaries and then get into why,
let's do our
I guess.
15-second summaries. I will pull up the clock. Hannah, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Begin.
Guy commits murder. Apparently the devil made him do it, but then the movie decides, fuck that case, and then talks about a bunch of cultists and weird shit, and then it gets fake and dumb for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
There you go. Sarah, do you want to go next? Do you want to go next or last? Okay. Ready, go.
There's a court case drama, but that's only 15 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of it is about these totems people find in their houses that make them possessed.
Beautiful. Concise. All right, you ready,
I'm
Matt?
ready. I'm ready. Don't make a Conjuring movie unless you're going to have James Wan direct it.
I think that's a fair point. I think you've nailed it.
Because even if we would have done all this bullshit, at least it would have been scarier and would have been more visually interesting. Mm-hmm. Because he's a good filmmaker. So that's it. Like, even the scares were devoid of any Conjuring feel. I was just like, you got me. Mm-hmm. All right, next one. Oh, nice scare there.
And Last Rites is also not going to be directed by James Wan. It's a story from James Wan, but he didn't even help write it. So if that says anything going in.
Oh my God. Just
lower your expectations.
Give me Malignant 2. That's all I'm asking for.
I don't know how I feel on that either.
Give me Aquaman 3.
No, not that. That I decline.
I've never even seen any of those. Apparently the one he did was good. The second one, they said the Aquaman movie, the second one was good. He directed a good one. He's a good filmmaker. Yeah, neither have I.
Okay, do you want to give us the full description?
Yeah, it's short, I think. Let's do this. Let's do this. I wrote it. Okay, so full description. In 1981, demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren document the exorcism of an 8-year-old David Glatzel, attended by his family, his older sister Debbie, her boyfriend Arne Johnson, and father Gordon in Brookfield, Connecticut. In an attempt to save the little boy, Arne invites the demon to enter his body. Ed witnesses the demon enter Arne just as the demon causes Ed to suffer a heart attack. The following month, Ed wakes up at the hospital and reveals that he witnessed the demon enter Arne. After hallucinating a demonic entity attacking him, Arne murders his landlord by stabbing him 22 times. With the support of the Warrens, his case becomes the first American murder trial where demonic possession is claimed as a defense. The Warrens discover a witch's totem in the Glatzel home, through which a satanic curse is passed. Kastner, a former priest who had studied cults, tells them that an occultist had intentionally left the totem, resulting in the curse and David's possession. When the Warrens received notice that the detectives from Massachusetts found a similar totem in the death of Katie Lincoln, who was also stabbed 22 times, they travel there. The totem was found at the home of Katie's friend Jessica, who is missing. Lorraine learns through a vision that Jessica had murdered Katie while possessed before jumping to her death, which allows detectives to recover her body. She also witnesses the occultist attempting to make Arne kill himself, but stops her, causing the occultist to become aware of the Warrens' presence. A book of witchcraft states that for the curse to be lifted, the occultist's altar must be destroyed. Ed is affected by the curse when a totem is discovered in the Warrens' house. He almost stabs Lorraine, but he is stopped by their assistant. Kastner reveals that the occultist is in fact his daughter Isla. As he reaches the occult, Isla grew fascinated by it. As he researched the occult, Isla grew fascinated by it. He leads Lorraine into the tunnels underneath the house where her altar is, but Isla kills her father, then curses Ed and Arne, causing Ed to try to kill Lorraine and Arne to try to kill himself. Ed regains his senses when Lorraine reminds him of their love and destroys the altar, saving Arne as well. Isla is killed by the demon she'd summoned after failing to complete the curse. Arne is convicted of manslaughter and serves a sentence of 5 years, marrying Debbie while in prison.
That shit made me want to go to sleep until you started stuttering, and then I woke back up.
The spelling of Isla is a tough one. That S, that'll throw you off.
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah.
But I also don't remember them saying her name ever.
I don't remember the name Isla occurring once in that film. Maybe we have no ability to pay attention.
Yeah, well, when the movie is like this, it makes it tougher.
1973's The Exorcist, 1991's Silence of the Lambs, Black Swan in 2010, and Get Out in 2017. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes the Academy Awards actually do what horror lovers of the world wish they would do, and respect this genre enough to recognize it on the grandest stage. I'm Andrew Corns, host of the Revisionist Almanac, an interactive monthly podcast here to fix the mistakes of the past, and also work to do a better job representing all film genres and not just the Oscars bait that exists. Every episode I dive into a past film year with a rotating group of guests to look at what won Oscars for Best Picture, Best Director, and the Acting Awards. Revise those winners based on what we think should have won, and then let the actual winners battle our choices in head-to-head online polls where you, the listener, get to have your voice heard and decide the outcome. So come check out the show on all podcast streaming platforms and find the show on every social media platform using the handle RevAlmanac. I can't wait to see you there.
It had so much potential.
Did it have potential?
It did have potential, yes.
Yeah, it did have potential.
I could rewrite this movie, and I probably will at some point during this episode. So.
Yeah, I think we can all partake, and I bet you we all have the same rewrite. I can almost promise that we have the same structure of film in mind. And I suppose we'll get there. But starting out, did we find this movie scary? Sarah, thoughts?
No, I didn't. I expected so much more from the Conjuring universe, and I didn't think it was scary at all. I mean, like I said, I don't like contorting. So in some of the, I can't think of the word. Not possession, opposite. Exorcism, thank you. In some of the exorcisms, I was like, ooh, the contortion. But that's more of just like me. It's not like objectively scary.
I felt that way with some of that too, but I did not find this movie scary beyond like a couple images that made me uncomfortable, I guess I would say. The scariest thing in this movie was when she went under the house and there were rats. That is the only time I hid or screamed in this entire movie, and that is because I am afraid of rodents. It's not really relevant to anything else that the movie's doing. That is that I need exposure therapy for mice.
I did not think the movie was scary. I did enjoy the opening scene with the little boy's exorcism and possession. And I thought they did a pretty good job with some scares there. And I really felt like everything was kind of downhill from that point on. Which is really unfortunate because typically Ed and Lorraine, or Patrick Wilson and Vera playing these characters, are the highlights of these movies. And they really got nothing to work with in this one. So...
yeah, I agree. I was like, oh, David's exorcism. This is going to be good. And then the rest of it, I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I think this movie, part of why this movie is lacking so much compared to the first two, in addition to the fact that it's not scary at all, as we've established, is that it lacks the heart of the first two. That's something you were just getting at. I think the first two have a lot of heart, not only between the Warrens, but between the family that they are helping, especially the first.
That's like a big theme of the whole movie.
Family.
That's like almost all of James Wan's movies have family themes.
Yes.
And this one doesn't, I think it wants to, but it doesn't really.
It doesn't know how to do that.
It doesn't have any pre-work to like get us there.
Yeah. And so there is nothing in this movie that makes me feel warm and gushy. So then I don't really care what happens to any of them. Like in the earlier films, when Ed and Lorraine are at risk, or when one of the children in this very loving family has the potential of being harmed, you're worried about what happens. So then that makes you tense and on the edge of your seat, waiting for something to happen. And then that also primes you to be more easily startled. And this has none of that. I was at the point of like, Ed can die, that's fine. I know that wouldn't make sense, but like, yeah, they could die. I'm cool. Like, Ed, go ahead, stab Lorraine. It doesn't matter to me. And also I think starting with a possession does not help that. Like starting immediately with an exorcism. I understand why they would do that to like draw people in. And to be fair, the demon does go from David to Arne. So again, I can understand the justification for that, but it also doesn't give us the time to care about that family either before they're automatically put in peril. And then we're just kind of like, yeah, it'd be cool if you save this kid, but whatever. So right, I don't think any of that helps.
I think the lack of development makes it absolutely just wild to me that Arne volunteered to take the demon from David. Because like we know nothing about the backstory and he's not in the family. He's just Debbie's boyfriend.
Yeah, they did no work. It was honestly quite lazy filmmaking.
Yeah.
That's the way I would put it.
And that's what, like, with the original story, they've done multiple exorcisms up to this point. And obviously he had to have been close, at least with Debbie, to care enough about, which we know he was dating her and they got married. But, like, there had to have been, like, a much closer relationship than we're seeing. I don't even think we see David and Arne interact at all. So you're right. It does feel lazy and doesn't make sense. Like we are not seeing the stress that led them to this point of him feeling the need to say that or do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets me into like rewrites already. And
yeah.
I think I'm just going to start.
I think we need to just lay that out because
here is how I think I would have wanted to have this movie go. Let's have Act 1 be the same as every other Conjuring movie, and then rug pull the audience. Like, let's have it be David gets possessed. We see the family coping with that. They finally call the Warrens in. It's like the very beginning of the first Conjuring movie. Warrens get there. The Act 1 into Act 2 climax is the exorcism and the transfer. And, you know, we're maybe halfway through the movie right now. We've done all the typical spooky stuff. We've seen this before. But, you know, with James Wan flair, because he's directing it, of course. And then, boom, we rip the rug out from under us. Arne kills that guy, and now we're in court drama We're in legal drama, court drama with the Warrens running interference via TV and news like they actually did in real life. And now we have no more ghost story. We have that for the rest. Like that, I think would have been really interesting. And I also love a legal drama personally.
Well, and that's why I said we would definitely come back to The Exorcism of Emily Rose, because essentially that is a legal drama with possession thrown in. And I just, as much as I don't love that movie either, I think it's certainly better than this.
You wish it would have done more.
And I wish that had done what it was doing in a more interesting way, but this needed to take inspiration from that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I totally agree.
100%. This should be a legal drama. It could have been so interesting. And since they wanted to break the haunted house story, what better way to do it than completely, following the formula that they have, but like you're saying, Matt, but completely different type of film by the end.
Yep.
This just felt like they were trying to do too much.
Well, it's because they picked a case that the Warrens weren't involved with enough for the most interesting part. But they did hint at an idea of like, at the end, they showed like a real life news broadcast where they were like, what's this going to do for the legal system, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, had they done, the Warrens were on TV all the time, I guess. At least that's what they make it seem like. If they would have had them out there and just like doing news clips and like trying to run interference, because I don't think they were actually involved in the case at all. But it would have been pretty funny, I think, to have them just like causing problems while this kid is just trying to like get his legal defense in order. And we're kind of cutting in between those with, yeah.
I don't know exactly at what point they stepped in, and I don't know if we should really talk to that if we don't know it, Matthew. But yeah, if they weren't involved right away, then yeah, is it a great pick? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it sounds like once they denied his, I read through the case, but it seemed like once they denied his ability to actually go with possession, it didn't seem like the Warrens were involved much more. But I know they were like doing TV circuit stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they stepped in earlier.
They were all about, they were all about just like getting their name out there, right? Whatever it took.
Yeah, they stepped in for David's case, and then they were there for Arnie's. But once
that's not how you said it.
No, I did. I said they showed up for David's.
No.
Yeah, I was saying that you have David get possessed. They show up and do the exorcism with the priest, and then after that, Arnie gets possessed. Okay. Yeah. You were confused. You weren't listening.
I thought I was, but who's to say?
Okay. So that's my rewrite.
I agree with the rewrite.
I like the rug pull aspect of it, so because then you get a little bit of both.
Yeah, I agree. I think by throwing in all this unnecessary bullshit about these like
made up cults and totems and whatever that are not relevant, and another whole case that didn't even happen.
Yes, didn't happen. I think it makes the pacing and the structure of this film feel incredibly off and disjointed.
Yup. Mm-hmm. And it gives the two brightest parts of these films, being Patrick and Vera, nothing to do.
No.
Like nothing interesting to do that they haven't done already. So it's just, it's a very frustrating movie for someone like me who actually really enjoyed these fictional Warren characters.
And it's annoying too because they try to go for the same themes like we mentioned, like this love and family theme. And it just doesn't work because you've thrown all this additional nonsense in there to the point where it's just incredibly cluttered. Like they don't do enough work for that in this independent film. They have this weird flashback of them meeting at 17, and then they try and use that as justification for you to feel emotional about whether they die or not in the end.
Yep. And then they build them a gazebo at the end.
Which is like, we didn't earn the gazebo.
Well, it's doing something that we've never questioned their faithfulness to each other within this universe. I know it might not be the case in our actual living universe here. But we've never questioned their love for each other. The whole point is that they're like infallible, and they have like this infallible love for each other, and they're these perfect family people. And you know what? I'm here for it. I love it within the movie. So like, why? I was never concerned that like they weren't going to be able to get through to each other or that they would ever harm each other. And it's just silly. It's just unnecessary and annoying, and I'm mad.
And then they end with this corny ass line, because she thinks our love is our weakness.
Oh, that was
it's
mind-blowing.
Our strength. And I was like, bro, do you think that you are Voldemort and Harry from Harry Potter? And it was corny then, but like, what the fuck are we doing? Voldemort doesn't understand that you can love? Is that...
And what's even more frustrating, though, is it's not like these two were having a fight during the movie for there to be some kind of character growth.
No.
Into being like maybe that'd have been interesting, have them have some disagreement and like have some kind of arc. But like the point of these films is the Warrens aren't really supposed to have arcs. They're supposed to be our Mad Max in the Mad Max movies. Like they're there to tell a story as someone else has an arc. They're there as the vehicle to drive the story. And
I think that's actually what makes The Conjuring 2 weaker than the first Conjuring, because
is that they try to give them
an arc, and that doesn't.
That misses the point. Well. It's about the family they're trying to save. They're almost like they're almost like superheroes in this, where it's like, again, superheroes can have arcs, but like a lot, like a Superman style typically doesn't have an arc, and that's like they're there to just drive the narrative for someone else.
Yeah, honestly, I was like, how much did the Warrens have to do with this film? But I looked it up, and like they died before this film came out, so. And I knew they were dead now. I just didn't know when the film came out. And so seemingly the answer would be they had nothing to do with it. But it feels almost as if it's very Warren influenced. Like, I read their book on the Smurl haunting, and it just is written in a way that like is like, we're the best, right? And that's kind of what this felt like. Like the Warrens were like, and we were so in love.
Yep. Meanwhile, like, he was totally cheating on her.
With an adolescent.
Yeah. Well, hold up. Oh, no, you can't defame someone who's dead. We're allowed to say whatever we want.
Fuck yeah. Well, he's been dead the whole time.
I know, but I'm just saying they can't sue you if they're dead.
Honestly,
it's true.
Well, that's why you should have an LLC, so they should sue the LLC if they do sue you.
No, I legitimately don't think they can, because I'm pretty sure you're allowed to say whatever you want about like Michael Jackson, which is why the family never sued anybody. Over like all of that case, which was like alleged. Yeah, I'm pretty positive you can't defame a dead person. So, yeah, they're not good people, but boy, do they make good storytelling.
Yep.
Yeah, Judith Penny alleged that she had a 40-year romantic sexual relationship with Ed Warren, which began when she was 15. So,
woo! These
movies definitely try and do quite a bit.
Tell us that story, and then have their love work at the end. I'm just saying.
That movie can't be PG-13 though.
Oh, true. What do you mean? The first Conjuring was R.
Was it? Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
It was. I know it was really? R because the first one was R because it was not R for. It was one of the first movies not R for gore or anything. It was R for actually just like being frightening, which is uncommon.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Warrens are stinky butts. I don't think that's news to quite literally anyone listening to this episode, especially if you listen to our coverage of The Conjuring 2, or Annabelle.
True. Hey, but they're fun to talk about.
It is interesting because Lorraine, like in her contract, very specifically when she worked with them for the first two, said that there could be no mention of Ed's extramarital affairs and that they had to be portrayed as a loving couple. So it's interesting that then this movie comes out after she's deceased and almost goes even further in the loving couple direction. Now that they really could have added conflict if they felt like it. I don't think it would make sense in the cinematic universe to add conflict, conflict between Ed and Lorraine, but we didn't need to go even cornier.
After the second came out, these films are more fiction than fact anyway, so we're just dealing with fictional versions of these characters. And guess what? I kind of like the fictional version. So
yeah, me too.
Of them, I don't like the fictional version of the cool stories they're trying to tell because they're just worse.
They just make the cool stories worse.
Yeah. Anyway. Maybe the real rewrite is, like, as I said before, don't make a movie about a case that they were not heavily involved in for the interesting part. And I mean, James Wan said he wanted to do a werewolf one because apparently they did a werewolf case. Like, that's so much more interesting, and I think they were more involved and probably has a lot more controversy in terms of it being bullshit. So I don't know.
I'm interested to see how Last Rites is, because it goes back to the haunted house narrative, and we know that they were involved in whatever happened there. I know you have an episode on the Smurl haunting, Sarah, which is what that film will be about. So I think that will be more fun for those of us who are familiar with it. But we'll see, since, again, James Wan is not at the helm for that.
Is this the one where the Warrens come through that portal to fight Thanos?
No, not
they
that
join.
one.
They weren't in that movie?
Gotta collect all the crystals.
I thought for sure they showed up. And Annabelle, too. And the nun.
No, shh. Let Sarah speak.
But honestly, they have over 10,000 cases they claim to have been a part of. Yeah, I know.
10?
So, yes, 10,000. So why this? And again, their involvement, okay, like the Warrens are the ones that said it, so take it with a grain of salt. But even if it's 500 cases that they were a part of, you have so much material to pick from. Like Matt has said, why pick this one where they weren't actually that involved if you're not going to lean into the fact that it was a courtroom drama style story? It just doesn't make any sense. Pick anything else. I think Smurl is going to be great, actually, because I read the book that was, of course, co-written by the Warrens, so who knows. But allegedly, they were very involved with that one, even staying at the house with the family at some points. So that is going to theoretically be a better story because they were actually very involved in that case.
Yeah, we'll just see if it works as a film with the team that's writing the film. But yeah, you would think that one has a lot more potential than whatever they were doing here. But I think we can...
I need to say one more thing
about
what Sarah said. I did not realize they had 10,000 cases.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And this is such a Warner Brothers thing to do. I'm going to complain about Warner Brothers because they make David Zaslav, terrible decisions. You have 10,000 cases. Warner Brothers has the endless money glitch right now. They could literally just go to Lorraine's book, pull it, tell it word for word from her book, because clearly it makes for good. Even if it's bullshit, at least it's like based on the book, and they could just make a billion of these. I can't believe that blows my mind. So
okay. So obviously, bad case pick or poorly written script of the case that they picked. Smurl, fingers crossed. What else about this movie or the script for the story they're trying to tell doesn't work for us? I can jump in and say this movie does not have humor, or at least humor that hits, versus I feel like the first two have plenty of like corny dad humor from Ed specifically, but Ed and Lorraine, or like the family. And this movie has none of that. And I think that goes back to this movie has no heart. Like, I remember, like, the first two, like, made me chuckle. And this has none of that.
It's just bland.
Yeah, I was going to talk about a different beef. So if you're going to talk about a beef with, like, the family part, go ahead.
No, I think I've said my piece on what I dislike. I don't think I have much more to add, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think my thing, again, is with the occultist. I guess Isla's her name, even though I do swear they never say it in the film. But it's just like that could have been really cool, and you could have explored some like occult things that are based in reality. It just felt like there was no research done in that area. And they were just like, oh yeah, she's an occultist and she's a spooky witch and she's leaving these totems. So here we go. And it's like that could have been a really well fleshed out aspect of this film. And it felt like kind of, I don't know, just a convenient thing.
It's actually really stunning that they went through the process of interviewing Arne and Debbie. Like, that feels like a lot of effort that suddenly they threw away to make this other piece that has no effort in any possible way. Mm-hmm. So that's cute of the entire team at the helm of this film. Do we have anything we liked about this movie? Because we've been shading it for 45 minutes.
Contortion was freaky.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the best parts of all the Conjuring movies is when they show the photos of the actual family at the end, or recordings of any actual events, and that was very scary during the credits when they had a recording of who I believe was David during his exorcism. And that's like those moments where you're like, what the hell was going on? Like, that doesn't sound like a child. Like, is this shit real? And then you realize, why did I just watch a movie that had nothing to do with any of that? And you get sad again. Okay.
So Matt's going off on another dislike.
No, I do think that part's really cool.
No, I do like that they do that, especially in The Conjuring 2 with the girl in the chair.
The recording for being possessed.
Yeah. Okay, so not much praise to show this movie.
No, I really got nothing. It's fine. There are many parts that are fine, but when you've seen something like the first Conjuring movie, something like this is just so annoying.
What do we think this movie's purpose is? What is this movie trying to do?
Make money.
Bingo. Is this movie trying to say anything, in our opinions?
It's trying to say the same thing that the other two are. It's trying to ride on the backs of those movies, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought originally the theme could be like, love conquers all. But that's just if I have to apply a theme.
Exactly. That is my thought as well, based off the, because you think love's our weakness, but it's our strength line. I do think that's what they're going for, but they didn't do any groundwork in this particular film.
To be honest, that came out of nowhere. I had no idea what that was even in reference to.
Yeah.
I was like, huh? What movie are we watching?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, it feels like this script was mangled. Like they had a script and then someone just completely overhauled it and didn't really do a proofread afterwards.
Hard agree.
This is a frustrating film. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any scenes that we want to call out for being particularly good?
Just the opening for me. I thought that opening exorcism was pretty cool. I was like, we're getting dropped right into the action. Interesting. Like very different from the other ones. Little did I know that would be the peak. But that's it for me.
Yeah, same. That was it. That was the best.
Yeah, for sure. I was consistently most interested when Arnie was on screen. But that's all I can really say about that.
That poor actor. You said that during.
I said that during the movie. I said this poor dude was probably like, fuck yeah, I have the opportunity of a lifetime. And then he got shoehorned into this stupid ass movie and doesn't get to do anything, even though he should be one of the leads.
He probably was in the first script.
Yeah, I wonder if he signed on when he was supposed to be a lead and then was like,
And changed, yeah. I could see it.
Well, before we get into ratings, let's play a quick game of this or that. So we're going to compare this to some other possession films. If you haven't seen them, feel free to just say that, Sarah. I know Matt has seen all of these, so. Okay, this or that. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, or The Dark and the Wicked.
I would go with The Dark and the Wicked.
And Matt hates The Dark and the Wicked.
So what you should do now, though, is for the next one, do The Dark and the Wicked versus it. Because
everything's going to be bad from here.
Yes. Okay, well, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I understand why you're saying that.
Oh, because I'm going to pick the other movies almost always.
There's no way, after that one, which I know you don't like, there's no way that you say this movie compared to
whichever one wins should just be up against the next one. So.
Okay. The Dark and the Wicked or The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
I personally go with Emily Rose.
Is that your pick also, Sarah?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. The Exorcism of Emily Rose or Sinister?
Ooh, this one's actually tough. I don't love Sinister, but I think I go with Sinister on this one.
Okay. Sinister or Jennifer's Body?
These are like equivalent movies in my mind.
Yeah, that's tough.
I think I go with Sinister.
Jennifer's Body is such an interesting film.
I know. I go Jennifer's Body, personally.
I'm going to go Jennifer's Body, yeah.
I went with Sinister on this one.
Okay. So. Jennifer's Body or Sinister, if you're Matt, or When Evil Lurks?
When Evil Lurks is my winner.
Is that the one with the family farm?
Yeah, they have a farm, and there's like a disease coming around, and it's like kind of a post-COVID movie. It's in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm going to go When Evil Lurks then.
Okay.
That was not surprising at all. I went in the order of which I thought Matt liked those movies. So
no, that was tough though, because I picked Sinister over Jennifer's Body, which I think any given day that could go the other way.
Yeah, I don't like Sinister that much, so Jennifer's Body was definitely the winner there of those two. Okay. Well, unfortunately, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is worse than all of those, so jot that down.
It is.
Let's get into rating this bitch, and then we can close out for today. We are still working on incorporating the Matt Dalton scale. That is the scale of -5 to +5. I consider that the enjoyment scale. Do you negative enjoy it, aka dislike, or do you positive enjoy it, aka enjoy it and recommend it?
And a 0 would be complete indifference. I mean, we're going to do both, though, because
and then we'll do out of 10 later. I'm going to go -4.
Whoa.
That's what I was thinking, actually. Same.
Actively did not enjoy, do not recommend.
I was also giving it a -4. That was my plan, which is crazy.
Okay. So don't watch it. If you haven't, is how we all feel.
It's not worth it.
How would we rate this as a film on a scale of 1 to 10?
For me, I was giving it a 4 or a 5.
I was going to go 4.
Oh, you're on the.
Wow,
you always make fun of me.
5 is kind of high.
I thought 5 was also high.
Yeah, it's like it's finely made in certain areas, so that's where it goes a little higher. It's not like the worst thing. I'd probably give it a 4. Is where I would really sit.
Yeah, I'm like 3.7 or a 4.
But you were talking about how you didn't understand my scale. You did what I did. You did a -4 and a 4, which would not coincide.
Yeah, I finally decided I understood the scale. I just, no one was vocalizing how to differentiate them.
Matt and I were just linked up.
They were just vibing, and that's just certainly, I need explanation. So my explanation is the negative to +5 is personal enjoyment versus like up to 10 is like critical enjoyment of the film.
I know like, what helped.
Is it a good film or not?
I know what helped was that I gave
Scooby-Doo.
No, not Scooby-Doo. I was gonna say what's the vampire movie? From Dusk Till Dawn. I said is a 6 out of 10 movie, but a +5.
Yeah.
On the rating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there you go.
So for the folks at home, that is how that is operating from here forth. We'll probably have to go through that description another 40 times to get it in the old noggin.
All right.
Well, Sarah, I'm sorry that we had you back on for another poo movie. We have a rough record with movie picks for you. We've had like incredible, and then we've had dog shit.
We should have done the first Conjuring with her because there's not a lot of good movies based on real hauntings.
Allegedly so.
Allegedly.
But thank you for coming on. Why don't you tell everyone just another quick recap of your pod and where to find you?
Yeah, so we do haunted locations primarily in Pennsylvania, but across the United States. And we talk about the history that has caused the haunting. You can find us wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, etc. And find us on socials, TikTok, Instagram, etc. for behind the scenes content. And who knows, you might even see Matt and Hanna pop up on our socials.
And you're just at Paranormal in Pennsylvania everywhere?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to say the name one more time to make sure it's fully in listeners' head. Paranormal in Pennsylvania. Well, even though that was crap movie, we appreciate you for coming on, and we appreciate everyone for listening. So I've been Hanna.
I've been Matt. Hanna.
Peace. Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever else you can find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube, where we post episodes and shorts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram, as well as at Horror Hour on Blue Sky for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!